Testing, testing. Alright, perfect. Hello everyone, my name is Ethonra, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. So yeah, I don't know if we'll finish the main story quest tonight. I'm half and half, want to try or not, because I'd rather finish in 13 parts, because I like that number more than 12. But 12 is fine too, because, well, I'm not even getting into why literally no one but me will care. But yeah, I've eaten, I had me a good nap, so I only really need to do like one or two other things off camera, but I don't have to do them right now. So we should be good to go for quite a bit. I would like to point out how you notice they're playing much more somber music than the da 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 da, you know? So they know, but for whatever reason, they still elect not to on the open world. Not to stop with the music is what I mean. Dang, he snapped to attention, didn't he? Reminds me of me when I'm discussing something that I like. A sucker weaver, if you will. I should have said something sooner. I was going to make a joke about how all the Loporits would get their own little dialogue for someone. Can't remember if this one is advancing or not. Yep, sure is. Let's start down here first. Okay. Speaking of which, let me turn on my room light real quick. Don't want my eyes to, you know, get even worse. It's not healthy to play video games in the dark. Might feel better, but it's not good for you. Alright. I guess he has nothing to share. Must be a really good book. Prophecy for what? This is like you're the one spying on us. Okay, have it your way. I'm not saying they are, but that's definitely something I expect like an anime stalker to say when they're caught stalking. Yeah, but to say you are level-headed. I didn't even read her title. Yeah, I wish everyone could be like that, but alas, not everyone. Hers is a bit more of a concern, though, because of it has been shown that human bodies that stay in space for too long do start to have adverse effects, so hers are warranted. Yeah, but hers are easily taken care of, I guess. But still, hers is probably the most... What's the word I'm looking for here? I can't think of it. Oh, don't worry about it. I think she's handling it pretty well. What are you calling an idiot? I'd rather be an idiot with hair than a bald genius. Yeah, think about that. Just for that, I'm gonna bug you again. You'd think with a head that big and that bald, he would have enough room in his memory to remember where he dropped the envelope, but I guess not. Sure, if you're into like bloodborne biology, I'm sure it would be useful. A lot of those creatures seem like they're from Bloodborne. I know it's a little late to say this now, but I'm definitely surprised that there's more than just 3 people to talk to. Well, yes and no, because like I said, I thought like every bunny would offer their own little insight on the problem, but now there's definitely more than just 3. Contrary, how can Zio help you? Or the Floparix, to be more exact. You're telling me. That's what I like about this game. It can be pretty humorous at times. I mean, I say it like that's the only thing. That's obviously not true. Speaking of not true, I'm glad I saw that because I just remembered I can do this so I can stop that music. And I know, I keep harping on it. I more or less promised this will be the last time, but like I said, the music is just so inappropriate for what's going on. It would literally be better to just be playing the theme of the area than the "we need to get out of here" music. Alright, fair enough. Easy there, you don't have to kill him. Oh, you're one of those types. Oh, isn't that nice? You okay there, buddy? Well, I've been feeling that same pain for quite some months now, so I don't think so. Now comes the tricky part. Thankfully she's still there, so that can kind of serve as a waypoint. Yep, decent point. Oh, I know that song, or the variation of that song. Yeah, see, she's gonna go run off. I was expecting the other dude to do that. Since he was feeling so much better, I'd imagine he'd be eager to relieve the stress. I guess I was wrong. Let's see. I don't think I've checked over here yet. Yeah, about to say, there's only so many places I can check after this. Curse them and their too tall shrubbery. On the bright side, it did help me find the last two. I was expecting one of them to be a Lalafell because, you know, they're so well hidden. Oh, you're the pilot? Oh. Yeah, see? They're actually having some urgency. Since we're pretty much already here, I'll just have Zio stay on foot. I love that. straight up... Oh, interesting. So he was a fake out. I was about to say that it wants us to find 8 people to help. And his name is what? Unconcerned Unconcerned Gleaner or something like that. So very clearly can't help him. This is also a really fun mount to ride as a Lalafell, because they're pretty much holding on for dear life. How did I miss you? Yeah, that's also a fair concern. I find it interesting that the later ones had urgency and Mr. Heart Attack didn't. And true, you can make the judgment that, you know, someone on the precipice of a heart attack probably shouldn't run. But he himself said he was feeling better immediately afterwards, so, eh. Besides, he's a big boy. I'm sure he can handle it. The run, not the heart attack. Okay, sure. I'm sure you want everyone here to give you privacy. I think that's all of them. I'm glad one Lalafell managed to make his way here, and this dude's still too engrossed in his book. Oh, speaking of which, I nearly forgot. Make sure we're still on track. Yeah, we are. Alright.
So much in, well, in forever.
Lively, isn't it? The town is abuzz. Everyone eager to meet with our friends from the moon.
'Twould behoove you to consult with Sleeping Way. As our moon's pilot, his advice should be most pertinent.
I'm impressed. Truth be told, I struggle to tell one from another. No offense intended, of course.
Listen. After you and your friends left Mare Elementorum, we spent no small amount of time with your Urianger. Oh, the conversations we had. He told us all about Atheris, answered our every question, no matter how trifling or trivial. Look! Every page filled to the margins with knowledge. When I first arrived, I was struck by how little I knew. It was daunting. But then I realized that, were it not for Urianger and his teachings, we'd still be stuck on the moon, gazing at your world and wondering what we've been missing.
What would they think if they could see Urianger now? I dare say they'd be more than a bit surprised. And impressed, no doubt. Master Louisoix, Minfilia, Papalimo, and not to forget...
Big Mooney.
Oh there. Heard there was a visiting expert who we might bother with a few questions. I take it you'd be the one.
Yes, I am.
Wilson and Blovida, Charlian's foremost researchers in the field of teleportation magic, and Moonbreeder's parents.
Yeah, you can tell because she resembles her mother a lot. Like a lot of a lot.
It hath been some time. Tis good to see you in good health.
Likewise, old friend. Blovida and I were most honored to answer the call. Never expected this reunion, though, did we, dear?
I'll say, the nerve. Sending that letter, then running off to the gods know where. Do you have any idea how worried we were?
I'm sorry. 'Twas remiss of me not to deliver the news in person. No, more than that. 'Twas I who...
Our daughter was disillusioned after Master Louisoix left her behind. The day the Scions called upon her was the happiest I'd seen her in years. She made her every choice of her own free will. No one could have ever forced her to do otherwise. Don't blame yourself for her death. Celebrate her life. You know that's what she'd want.
If there is one thing we resent you for, it was that we could not be there to mourn her with you. Reading the words you penned in that shaky hand, we must have cried as much for you as we did for her.
I'm sorry. I truly, truly am. I knew not what to say. Knew not how to express my feelings. The poems and platitudes of wiser men, musings on sadness and loss, studied and memorized, and meaningless in the moment.
Silly boy. We are all powerless before such grief. Even now, try as I might, the words escape me. But in our hearts, we know. We always know.
I remember when you were young. How the lads teased you for choosing the company of books over others. Our moon didn't take kindly to that. Be nice to Urianger, she'd shout, and give them a walloping. No matter how many times we scolded her.
So we offered a suggestion. Rather than starting fights, why don't you be the bridge between Urianger and the others? She had to mull it over for a while. Arms crossed, brow furrowed in intense thought. But from that day on, she never let you be alone. She'd drag you outside to play, pepper you with endless questions, read the same books you read, all to try and understand you that much better. I'm sure it was annoying and exhausting at the time, but she only ever had the best of intentions.
And look at you now, at the center of the crowd. The reason there even is a crowd, having brought these people together. You've no idea how proud we are.
To see the boy, our daughter, trusted and believed in more than anyone, grow into the man she always knew he could be. I can see her in you, too. Feel her. She walks with you wheresoever you go. So thank you, Urianger, for being who you are.
I think I can feel her too. The truth of her life. Not sorrow, but hope and love.
This moon breeder. She was important to him, wasn't she?
You could ask the man himself.
Oh, no. But watching this exchange reminds me how much I've yet to learn about your world. And its people.
You can live here your entire life and hardly learn a thing. And that's why it's too soon for this to end.
Okay, first off, hey you, I saw your little comment there. Yeah, they are pretty adorable, aren't they? As for that cutscene though, I chose to be as quiet as possible to give it the proper respect. Plus there was nothing I really wanted to comment on, nothing snarky. But I would say, that was, first off, subverting expectations correctly, because for a split second there, I thought Moonbreeder's mother was going to be stereotypical angry mom blaming Urianger for something not his fault. Thankfully she didn't. She's just as cool as her daughter was, so that's good. That's the correct way to subvert expectations. Then the second thing is, man, that cutscene, it was enough to even make my cold dead heart feel something. So let's see how everyone else is doing. What's that noise? Are they speaking in Don't Starve language? What's going on here? That can't possibly be right, but I'm wondering where that music is coming from. I think it is them, strange as that sounds. Oh, Hold on, let me try something. Talk to her immediately. Okay, so for whatever reason, it happened talking to these three, but not her. Whatever. Oh, almost forgot. Yeah, exactly. I'm glad he finally got his closure. I knew he would, obviously. I just didn't expect it to be here until these two showed up. And as soon as I saw her, I knew immediately what was going down. Because like I said, him, don't see the resemblance all that much, but definitely from the mother. Yeah, that's true. Oh, I will. This is an excellent example, though, of why some characters should stay dead, even though you want them back. Like, obviously, I would love to see how Moonbreeder would have turned out if she had lived, but she didn't. So to bring her back now would ruin the emotions going on right now. I can't really explain it very well, but people who understand what I'm trying to say, they definitely can. But it's like Destiny 2. Cade should not come back. He really shouldn't. As much as we miss him, he should not come back, because bringing him back would ruin everything that happened after his death. It loses its weight. So, as cool as it would have been to see how Moonbreeder would have turned out if she had lived, if she had came with us to Stormblood and Shadowbringers and Endwalker, yeah, that would have been cool, but don't bring her back. Let her rest in peace. Nah, don't sweat it. Yeah, just seeing if they said the same thing. Alright. Yeah, that's Alice, alright. Alright, so looks like they'll say the same thing. Those bushes, not these, but those, that hedge, is too high to jump over, so gotta go around. Kind of amazing this thing can run, considering how long its fangs are, but they're not scraping on the ground. And it would definitely have a hard time looking down, too. That's a pretty cursed existence. Not as much as Meteon, but close. Jose offered to lift all these boxes by herself? Huh. That's curious. I wonder who she was trying to show off for. How would you not remember lifting something this heavy? I mean, heavy for her. You know, as much as I was bashing the music, I will admit it is kind of funny to be running with this crate and having that Die Hard music play in the background. See what I meant? I'm more interested in how she did it. He kind of looks like Urianger, but beyond that, I don't recognize him. surprised Alice didn't go taking off. Just making a beeline. Something like that. This mount used to be, well, it probably still is, but a friend of mine, ex-friend of mine, this used to be their favorite mount, or at least the one they rode the most. I do miss them, but that's neither here nor there. Well, that explains why Alphino vaguely remembers him. Hey, look who it is. Best boy. Someone in my FC was talking about how they wanted this minion or mount to be put into the Mog Station store. I mean, sure, if you're into that kind of thing. There are a variety of other mounts I would rather see there. Speaking of which, I've never seen that tree before. I've seen that model, but not that tree. Okay. Kind of reminds me of when I accidentally ran into a level 90 hunt as a level, what, 70, 80? Oh, I do. I trust you. That sounds kind of bad. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I'm gonna check that out again because for a split second I was confused where that buff came from. I'll point it out when I go there again. Swimmingly. Oh yeah, we were supposed to have that conversation. I would say yes and no on that, because remember, from our perspective, and I think, well, maybe from his own story, didn't he mention vaguely remembering his past life? Again, it was hard to pay attention to Fandaniel just because I hated him so much, but that was obviously being biased. When it comes to understanding the story, you should not do that, so this is another do as I say, not as I do. But I can't remember, but I thought he said something along the lines of, yeah, matter of fact, yes, he did. Because remember, we saw it through his own eyes that while he was Amon, he was talking to a fellow Allegan. I was trying to think of the name. So clearly he did, but Raha is just speaking from what he believes. But we actually know that Fandaniel more or less had memories of himself as Hermes. Pretty good theory, not gonna lie. Oh, how about that? So this is the other mount that I like, that I mentioned, freaking Wedge help build, which I don't like, but I do like the mount itself. I think it's really neat. It's one of the few mounts that actually give your character back support, so automatically is one of the best mounts in the game. Weird to see an ice creature out here in this environment. I mean, sure, never melt ice and all, but still strange. They could have just as easily just been golems, but they purposely made them ice golems. And what do you know? We made one big circle. Yeah, pity that. Sure, sure. Hey, now might be my chance. Let's see.
All set, I take it?
We finished what we could. Delivered supplies, tracked down escaped animals. Trivial tasks as they may be.
That's enough, don't you think? If there was anything more important still undone, that would be a problem in itself.
The vessel is essentially ready for departure. All that remains is to load the final batch of supplies and see everyone on board. Once we've readied the ether burner, that is.
Ah, had a feeling we might find you all here.
Our consultations with the Loporrits, too, have run their course. Pleased I am to say that our researchers' concerns have for the most part been allayed, though some insist on making adjustments to the very end. For their part, Livingway and her peers have graciously offered to stay and keep the people company, lest any lingering queries go unanswered.
All that remains is to wait for the refined adamantite.
Alphino, are you there? It's me, Kryl. Your special delivery has arrived. Round up everyone and come to the harbor at once.
Speak of the devil. Let us go at once.
Forgive the intrusion, Master Fortuner. I bring urgent news. A great commotion has broken out in Scholar's Harbor. Your presence is requested, with all speed.
Now, where might this delivery be? Oh.
I'm sure it's very important, but we cannot accept these without the proper permits.
By the 12?
Permits.
Surely, these can't all be.
Bleeding hellfire! They're bringing them by sea and by air. All these folks in these crates.
And more on the way. Got your adamantite right here. A bigger haul than any of these sorry bastards brought, and that's no lie.
Yes, because you were charged with seeing the shipments from Gridania and Uldar here, along with your own. Give credit where credit is due.
Sounds like the sorry whinging of a sore loser. An hypocrite to boot. Ain't no way a scrawny whelp like you took a dozen steps inside a Dalaman shard.
I'll have you know I went all the way to the entrance. Furthermore, 'twas my contacts that enabled us to enlist the cooperation of the Sky Pirates.
Left you outside so you wouldn't get anyone killed, did they? Well then, credit where credit's due, you did a right fine job sitting on your ass.
Take that back.
Make me.
I will not stoop to your level.
Oh boy.
My, what a grand welcome party.
Hancock and Soroban.
We come bearing relics both sacred and Allagan, as well as a few other gifts that may be of help, to be presented with best wishes from the Eastern Alliance. Our friends in Bosnia, for instance, have sent along a few artifacts for the brave allies of the Resistance. That's you. And we brought a number of items from Eureka as well. Courtesy of one Ejika Tsunjika. He says a little advance warning would have been appreciated, by the by.
Be cool if that's tied into Zio finishing Eureka. But back to his previous statement, you know, helpful resistance. Wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for Stormblood. Just saying.
I myself have come with a sacred relic of Rayson Temple. 'Twas passing fortunate that Senri's dango craving brought us to Kugane. We arrived precisely as Hancock was making his arrangements. Upon learning of your need, we made haste back to Hell's Lid, with our dango, never fear, and consulted with the other auspices. All consented to the lending of Tenzin's legendary Phoenix Blade for this noble cause.
So that sword's even more important than I thought, because I was thinking to myself, you know, oh, better keep Xeno away from it. Xenos. But, you know, he has a scythe now, so the joke wouldn't have worked, so I didn't bother to make it. But I knew that sword was important, but I didn't think it was that important. That sword's actually a very big deal for those who know what he's talking about.
Suzaku and Seiryu were nevertheless worried that it might be lost in transit, however, and insisted upon accompanying me to Onokoro, where I had intended to entrust it to our Confederate allies. I thought instead to give it over to Hancock when we chanced to cross paths yet again. But alas, Seiryu remained ill at ease, and ordered me see the blade into your hands personally, or die trying.
See, that would make a lot more sense if Suzaku was the one to make that request, considering her relationship with the man who owned that sword. Sorry, I already forgot the name. I don't see why it would be Seiryu, though. I really don't understand why it would be him. Suzaku would make much more sense.
We did, of course, need quite the impressive vessel to get it all here in time.
Radabaston, Raid.
Fortunately, our majestic associates have been more than helpful. 'Tis an honor to join the Warrior of Light on another adventure, they tell me.
That is all wonderful to hear, but what of the extraordinary cost? I shudder to think of the ransom we must pay for such a bounty.
Fret not for your coin purse, young Alphino. Lord Lolorito looks ever towards the profits of the future, and thus the East Aldenard Trading Company went to some lengths to reduce the financial liability. And since the Scions funded the entire venture, not a gill need be rendered up in compensation. Everything is already yours.
We funded the venture? When?
Don't let the name fool you. This coin keeper knows a thing or two about spending. When it comes to capital investiture, a sprinkling of gil here and there will not do. You need enough savings to make waves when it really counts, which is why frugality is paramount.
I wish she did that laugh more, because I'm not going to say that's the first time she's done it, vocally at least, but I wish she did it more, because that's very adorable for Tataru. Also, I can't help but notice the pink on her cheeks. Those were not always there. I think that's part of her new outfit.
We also have the benefit of a generous patron. Generous being rather an understatement.
I'm pretty sure I know who that is.
She has supported us from the shadows.
Yep.
Since the very founding of the Scions. We even had coffers to fill.
Yep. Thought as much.
Mother!
She told us herself.
Amelians.
I guess he never knew.
I remain, of course, an entirely neutral party. I simply thought our family's coffers were needlessly full. We can hardly take them with us on your teeny-tiny toy boat, now can we? And 'twould be a shame to leave all that hard-earned wealth unspent. waste not.
However did you manage so much in so short a time, though? We expected word to reach only a fraction of our allies.
Did I not tell you I have my ways?
Erenville, you were involved too.
I received a letter from Cryo after we parted ways in Labyrinthos. She explained what the Scions were trying to accomplish, and why you might soon require the services of the Gleaners, spread across the world as we are. I pray you do not interpret this as a betrayal of Charlie. I accept that the Forum's aim in pushing us to our limits was to preserve what knowledge we have, and I bear you no ill will for it. Yet, in collecting that knowledge, what I came to appreciate most about our star is that there remains so much we do not know. That is why I chose to help the Scions, to combat the obliteration of those countless undiscovered wonders. I held no illusions that they would be less demanding taskmasters. Though, rest assured, if I had, I would have been sorely disappointed. To make a long story short, the whole of the guild ship cooperated to ensure your call was heard far and wide.
Hey, look who it is.
What's this about a ship that can fly to the moon? And why didn't you mention it sooner? The one time you don't beg my aid, your problem's a bloody ship that can fly to the moon.
Cid! You brought the team.
Of course. Garland Ironworks' finest. You need only point us towards my new favorite ship.
As you like us not suspect, we've also brought adamantite for Mordona's Dalamud Shard.
Okay, now that I have control again, I just want to comment on Cid makes an excellent point, because genuinely I did not think of Cid. So I think that's actually pretty funny. Of all my little theories and what ifs and why nots, I did not once think, oh, Cid's pretty smart. Why don't we go ask Cid?
I admit to some consternation upon first receiving Kryl's message. So few Scions remain at the Rising Stones now. Far too few for such an expedition. However, the Gleaners were able to secure us reinforcements. Idleshire's treasure hunters, not least among them. I know. How the Gobbyflock fought. Slowfix's gratitude for the safe return of his daughter has not waned, and he gathered his kin to our side with an astounding quickness. The clash between their machina and the Allagan defences was a sight to behold. I wager even you would have been impressed by the magnitude of the gobby booms.
Fascinating as all this is, I fail to see how it explains your presence here. Does Razat-Han not have more pressing concerns?
We do. Yet averting the final days would be the most expedient solution. That, and I am indebted to you. Though they chose to take their leave of Thavnair, those you saved in Galimund remain my people. My gratitude is beyond words. 'Tis appropriate that I aid you in kind. If in the doing we bring salvation to others of this star, so much the better. You will recall that I spoke of my father, Midgard Summer, and his journey across the great expanse. As he traveled betwixt the stars, his resplendent scales drank of the ether in those nigh empty surrounds, and imparted to him the strength to persevere. Thinking they might further your cause, I called out to my kin for consent. Ashdaya's answer was silence, as ever. Tiamat and Chrisvelgre, however, responded favorably to the suggestion. My sire, too, stirred from his slumber long enough to speak and say, "Very well. Thus have I brought you his own worm scales. Fit them to your purpose, and seek a worthier fate for us all."
You'd be hard-pressed to find someone else so familiar with the unique properties of dragon scales. So I invited myself along.
Bugger me, this is so unbelievable. I've gone right back round to believing it again.
Forget a 6% gain in efficiency. With all these goodies, we could get 7, no, 10, no, 14 bleeding percent.
Think of how far we could go! What we could do with that much power! What we could blow up!
If Kokol is duly convinced, then it must be true. In which case, the Scion's end of the bargain has been fulfilled. Would you not agree?
Yes, Father?
I know not what you seek of Hydaelyn, nor for what purpose you would take command of our ship. Yet this much is certain. To do so will be to dictate the fate of this star and the lives upon it. The lives of each and every creature, in their magnitude and their fragility. Do you understand? And are you prepared?
We have seen and we have felt how much each life shapes this world. And so we are determined to abandon none. We understand what is at stake, and we are prepared to bear this burden.
Then I will bear it with you. I beg you, share your struggles with me. As family. You grasped my fingers with such tiny hands the day you were born. I thought my heart might burst. It was love and happiness beyond expression. Overwhelming. And a conviction so powerful that I trembled with something close to rage. I had heard the final days foretold. I swore to myself then and there that I would not let them steal your futures. The great exodus would succeed, must succeed. No sacrifice or sin was worse than the alternative. If anything gave me pause, 'twas mine own father. The Archon Louisoix openly decried Charlian's policies, a perspective which I regarded with increasing disdain as I grew older. Yet even as part of me thought him a fool, perhaps I also hoped that he, of all people, would devise a brilliant means to save my children. naive hope, but stubborn enough that I could never bring myself to keep you apart. No, that was his doing, when he perished at Cartano. As we pulled that twisted slab of Dalamud from the sea, I remembered the warmth of your newborn touch. Chastened, I vowed never again to suffer any interference in my mission to protect you. No matter that you yourselves wished otherwise. Detest me, fight me tooth and nail, I would suffer it, and more, and be satisfied so long as I could force you onto the ship. I was wrong. You two have grown so much stronger and so much wiser than I dared dream. You have earned the right to walk your own path, and already begun to do so.
Good. Because there are things we care about, and people we love, and none of them is replaceable. Not a one.
It cannot have been an easy journey for you to have come so far.
We shall be glad to acquaint you with the finer details someday, once this danger has passed. All that we have seen and heard, that we have felt and learned in our travels. Ours is not a kind world, but it is beautiful. Always.
Oh no. Are you quite sure that's wise? After all, someone turns pale and flees the room when he sees so much as an envelope containing word of your adventures. Whatever will happen if he learns what you were really up to?
Amelians. Though I have wronged my children most gravely, I owe you an apology as well. I assumed that it was the Scion's influence that made them so keen to charge headlong into danger. Yours, in particular. I see now that said influence instead brought them together with the many fine people gathered here today. In which case, I hope you continue to guide them.
If we've finished loitering about the harbor, might I suggest we put our plans into motion? People are beginning to look confused.
Perhaps you can spare a few words ere they resume the tedious lugging of cargo. You've no small number of friends and admirers here, after all.
Oh, music. Way to put Zio on the spot, though, Alphanel. Yeah, we're gonna win this.
Your assistance is appreciated. Now, in an orderly fashion, if you please.
I'm surprised Nero was like completely quiet. He didn't say anything. I thought for sure he'd have at least a little bit of banter with Sid. At least the music is more appropriate now. almost too late though. I kind of have a headache, but I'll push through it. Every time this song plays, I think of, one, the ultimate weapon, and two, when La Habrea got murked for the first time in A Realm Reborn. Oh, thank goodness the normal music came back. I would have been okay if the hype music kept playing though until, you know, like the next mission or two. But it would be fair for it to die down now, because as the last song proved, you don't want to overstay your welcome. Fair enough. Before I forget, I want to comment on, again, ups and downs with the story, but I do love the emotional weight for a lot of this stuff, especially the happy moments like Ariane J getting their closure, Alphinaud and Alice A getting their closure, things like that. Tell me about it. Wait, who did you say? I missed the name. Oh, Lise. Yeah, Lise is a bit of a firecracker herself. Maybe not the same level of Alice A, but she's up there. Ah, the good music. That's very true. And I personally would love to ask Heidelin, why did you not tell, I mentioned it before, why did you not let the forum know about us and let us know about the forum? That would have saved a lot of headache. Well, hassle would have been a more appropriate word, but you get what I'm saying. If you just told us, oh, I mean, again, I know why, because from a story perspective, well, no, reverse that. From a story perspective, it makes sense. From a real-life game kind of explanation, she couldn't tell us because that would cut out a lot of the mystery and the story of, well, the story. But in world, realistically, she should have said something. Oh, the hype music is back. Or sorry, not the hype music, the headache-inducing music. Again, it's not bad, it's just been playing for so long. And don't get it wrong, music I do like, I can listen to for a long time, but even then, I want to hear something else after a while. pretty down here. I like the floor. Let's see, that brings up another interesting thing. Hydaelyn, is she not, more often than not, she's called the Will of the Star? So, if this star dies, wouldn't Hydaelyn die? I mean, I get it. She loves the people of this star with all her being, so if her death guarantees our survival, she'll make that choice. But why let it come to that? I just find it really interesting. So many interesting things. Which reminds me, I need to talk about the queue that I had. I don't think I did because I kind of hopped into it. But I'll do it as soon as I have this moment. Because I don't want to risk forgetting again. Okay, it kind of looks the way I imagined it would. I need to see the full picture though. Yeah, that's more or less how I imagined. It's the shape of a triangle. Alright, so, see, I can't remember if I actually said it or if I just thought it. Excuse me, but the queue I had took about 45 minutes because it was 100 or 1,500, 1,500, whatever. As opposed to if I tried to get on like now, I guarantee you it would be 3K or 4K. So I almost didn't make it because I signed on around 3 something and I didn't get in until 3:30. Then I get in until like 4:15 or something like that. I can't remember because I forgot to mention it, but it was more or less an hour before I got on because my queue was 1,500. So yeah, I'll have to remember that. If I do need to take a break, I need to come back, say, around 2 or 3. 5 is definitely too late, and 4 almost didn't make it. Then we better get started now. Uh-oh. Let's see if I can find that, because I'm almost certain it's being picked up. Yep, found it. Pretty sure the mic is picking that up, so there we go. I think you've played host to Hydaelyn long enough, Cryo. Alright, this should be interesting. Level 89. I will be right back. Okay. Let's see what this great cost is. Oh, they're playing the hype music again. It's honestly a bit smaller than I thought, but maybe it's one of those bigger on the inside kind of deals. Also, I like that they have the PvP armor on. I don't know why they would be so, I want to say heavily geared, I guess is a good one, for this area. I mean, it would make more sense if they were dressed like that up on the surface with all those wild beasts roaming about, but in here. And then they have the armor, but then no weapons, so curious. I do get that it has kind of a futuristic look to it, but that's not a good enough reason. Oh, while I'm at it, nearly forgot, this is going to be a changing one. I think I have an idea, but I've been guessing all stream, so this is one of the few things I'll just be quiet about and see if I'm right. Fair. Also fair. Probably not. I was just about to say, Y'shtola should be saying some interesting things, considering where we are. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. I believe that's everyone. Let me talk to Crowell again. I don't remember what she said. Ah, right. AKA the live stream. I don't know why they changed the term. I doubt it was for legal reasons, but I swear, somewhere in the story, side quest or not, they refer to it as the live stream, but now they're calling it the Ethereal Sea. Why are they... I mean, I guess maybe they're trying to separate it because the live stream... No, because they explained it sounding like the live stream, that it's a sentient force, and that it's essentially reincarnation. So no, they're one and the same, so I don't know why they changed it. Y'shtola. Yeah, I said Y'shtola, but considering the whole Heidelin situation, I felt Kryl might volunteer. But I honestly think it should be Y'shtola. Then again, maybe her vision's not that good, considering how far down we're going to be going. Aw, don't say that, Kryl. Well, if it makes you happy. Of course. That is also a good point. Mm-hmm. Is this gonna do it? I bet. Yep. Awesome. Just what I was hoping for. That's the thing earlier I was saying that I've been guessing the entire stream, so I'll just be quiet and see. Like, oh, is this a dungeon? Is this a dungeon? I honestly felt this one would be, but I wanted to hold back just to be sure, and I was right. But yeah, to me it was obvious because it was the first 89 dungeon, or 89 level, I think. So obviously we're getting closer and closer and closer to the end game. So we need the level 89 dungeon. So I knew it was coming. It had to be this. That's somewhat comforting, but it won't really help much if we're about to walk into a void. Or, as they put it, an ethereal current that can tear our souls asunder. And you can't warn us. But still, it's a nice thought. Yeah, that's an interesting point. I'm curious if they're going to be like the shades of the past are almost certainly going to be in some mobs. But I'm also curious if there's going to be any bosses. I'm going to guess yes, or at least I hope so. Yeah, they're all but confirming that. That's also true. And that does explain why they wear the armor. But like I said, they have the armor, but they didn't have the weapons. That's what threw me off. If it was both, then I'm like, oh, okay, makes sense. But just the armor? Yeah. Yeah, she would. Always the way with words, that is Stydian. He's right, though. Yeah, thanks for reminding me that he could possibly be down there. Alright, so I was going to say, I think I will rather bring Best Boy.
I stand ever ready.
Because he's a paladin, so there's a chance he'll use things like Clemency and Divine Veil if things get hairy. I'd rather bring...
Right then.
Estinian, in case he, what's the word I'm looking for? In case he decides to limit break. I know his... Because he'll most likely limit break on the boss, not random mobs. So his limit break will be more useful than Y'shtola's and Alisae's. And Alphino the Sage, or Urianze the Astrologian. I honestly can't say, because I'm still too unfamiliar with well, Sage I know does give shields, so that's kind of reason enough to bring him. I heard that it also buffs you, but I don't think it buffs you like an Astrologian does. But I know Sage has shields, and that'll be really handy, so let's see what this is like. It's pretty.
All seems in order with the lens, and I trust you can hear me.
I wonder who these are.
Those things are pure malcontent, the residue of lives unfulfilled.
Too late for that. I was gonna use Soul, so I mean I guess I could. It's not that big of a deal, but I'd still rather just finish them off now. Oh, that reminds me.
Hold still.
When I was doing the other roulettes, you know, to level up my White Mage and my Gunbreaker, I mentioned how my Gunbreaker macro doesn't work anymore. But that's not the main thing I want to say. The main thing I want to say is it seems like we do more damage and we take more damage. Like at first I thought, you know, Reaper is just like, oh, great DPS, surprise, surprise. But no, it seems like in general more damage is being done, but we also take more damage. Feels that way. Interesting that these ads are called sinking. It reminds me of the Sin Eaters, who are called Forgiven, etc., which I thought was really cool naming scheme. I still say Shadowbringers was the best expansion. It's a little unfair because Endwalker hasn't had its full course, but even with that in mind, Shadowbringers had a better start than Endwalker did. To me. I feel like I could say that's objective, but I'm not even going to joke about that. I'll go ahead and pretend. cool.
Allow me.
Aw. I was hoping they lived a little longer, but oh well. I got 20 seconds. Oh, that's a new one. I like their name is Rivalry, and it has 2 heads. Oh, with red and blue eyes. Oh, forgot Soul Soul again, but oh well. I don't think that thing did any AoEs, did it? So it's probably just a beat stick. It just does a bunch of damage. I don't think it did AoEs or a tank buster, but I wasn't paying that much attention. I feel like the first boss might be behind this. Not getting there though. And see, that's a golden soul, so it makes me wonder, are you... Nah, probably not. Let's see. Oh, it's Ilberd. Okay, I guess I was right. Because I was going to say, the golden soul might be a good soul because it's golden and not that ominous purple.
This will hurt.
Stop and think for a moment there. He's barely taking any damage. So I'm guessing whoever soul that is probably going to come out and help us nuke this guy because he's barely feeling this. I'm doing this for Ilberd. I delayed too long though. Didn't mean to do that. Oh, and that's what the golden thing is. Nice. I will have to remember though that these things can survive if we don't spread the damage out. I was figuring the golden soul would kill those automatically and then just damage Ilberd, and it kind of did the opposite of what I thought. It did a lot of damage, but they survived because they weren't being damaged themselves. So when I'm here with people, I'll have to remember to spread the DPS out better. Oh, it's you again. I remember her. She's the Garlean that was in love. I think it was her at least, if I remember the name correctly. She was the Garlean that was in love, or obsessed with, to be more specific, Gaius. Okay, so those are like innocence. Little move. Alright, I'll have to remember that.
Hold still. Hold still. Hold still. There.
This will hurt.
Shows how little attention I'm paying.
You underestimate me! You're mine!
There we go. Yep, I thought it was you.
Follow the flow of ether. It will guide you.
Unfortunately, I couldn't quite read what, I almost called him Ardbert for some reason, what Alphino had said. But Ardbert...
The ether is too dense. Ah, I'm losing you.
Yeah, we thought as much. Man, this place is pretty. But yeah, Ardbert, I guess, technically is here, if you get what I mean. But even if he wasn't, his soul would actually be in the first, since, you know, homeworld and all, but no, he's definitely here. I'm going to do this, so that way don't waste some of that gauge.
You underestimate me!
Some more golden souls. Oh, look at that axe.
Hold still.
That's neat. I'm liking this dungeon, as I knew I would. You know, being a high-level dungeon, the high-level ones are pretty good. But I guess it's not so much that it being a high-level dungeon that I like. but how, funnily enough, everything is coming together. Like the... Oh, that's a new materia. Nice. The weight of the dungeon, I guess I should say, from a lore perspective. What did I just say? Okay, we definitely ain't gonna let that go to waste. What was I gonna say? I got distracted by that moment. Oh, right. The weight and depth of this dungeon from a lore and feel and story and all that stuff kind of perspective. And as if to further enhance my point, you saw what that was. But I was going to say, I'm eager to see what other YouTubers have to say when they see that part. But I find it interesting. Well, I guess it's not so much as interesting. No, I guess it is, because they mentioned souls and memories being down here. So I do find it interesting that when it comes to the evil, we fight the souls, but the good, there's only the memories. So is that implying that the good have already moved on? That because they more or less died at peace, their souls can move on? Or am I missing the point? Because that's what it feels like. Like, these things seem like they're actually mutated souls or mutated feelings, you know, like the first boss of the dungeon clearly was. But you could make the argument that's also just her lingering resentment. Wasn't that kind of the big deal? It's just that they're so close to being the same, it's hard to tell.
Hold still.
That's all. Like how the memories are taking the form of the weapons and not the person, but the bad feelings, bad memories, what have you, are taking their forms, or at least the forms of monsters, as opposed to the forms of weapons. Does that make sense? Speaking of which, I need to start building this up now. I'll just kill them slowly, because the next boss area is right over there, so I'm just going to build this up. Build this up as I use it. Still, there we go. I do try to stay on top of that because the cooldown is not very long and it gives you 50 gauge right off the bat. So, if at all possible, you don't want to sit on that too long. Not when it can be used, at least. Alright, let's see who this one is. Oh, okay. Yeah, see, why are you bothering to talk to it if it's a memory? I know who this is. This is that, the one with the shit. So it makes me wonder, who's going to be the last one? Is it going to be someone else Garlean related? Because it can't be Gaius, because thankfully I was right that he survived. It's not going to be... It's not going to be, the White Raven, is it? Because I really don't want to deal with, like, a, crap, what's his name? Give me a minute. Because if I take too long, the Joker's going to die.
Hold still.
Crap, I can't remember. Anywho, the White Raven, I'm hoping he, she, whatever, doesn't come back. We've already fought them like 3 or 4 times by now. Oh, okay. I think I see. Yep. That's cool. Oh, good. He repositions himself. I'd be concerned. Wrong button. I'd be concerned if the tank knew to do that or not.
Allow me.
interesting. That's going to be a very dangerous AoE, so I need to study that one again.
Hold still. Hold still.
Yeah, too late. I was too distracted. Oh, and you actually have to pay attention. I kind of figured there would be a trick to that. The crystal is not guaranteed to break, so you've got to pay closer attention than I thought. Fair enough.
Allow me.
Okay, that one's not as bad as I thought, but it can be if you lose track of the AoEs.
This will hurt.
Yeah, that was too late. Also, my dragoons in the audience, all 0 of you, unless you is still here, or Yui. I can start calling her Yui, so you know when I'm talking to you and not her. Anyway, don't be like Estinian. I'm guessing because he's an NPC, he's free from needing to use positionals, obviously.
You underestimate me!
You didn't fail him. Aw. But yeah, don't be like Estinian. Actually do your positionals to the best of your ability. Well, there's definitely some anti-tower going on right there. Oh. Alphino just said something and I missed it. Let me zoom all the way out. At least I think he said something. I was about to comment on, I wonder who's... Oh, those must be like the dangerous ether void things that she told us to avoid. They look pretty dangerous.
Allow me.
No, allow me. And the heater is starting to get to me. I'm going to have to turn it off after this dungeon so I can concentrate a little better. My Reaper is going to love all those high-level critical hit materials. And like I said, you know, as if you needed more proof that Shadowbringers was like the best expansion, and I still say better than this one. as I pointed out before, they're using kind of the naming scheme where the Sin Eater is referred to as forgiven, what have you. Say for Innocence, who was a special Sin Eater for obvious reasons, for those who know. But these things are all referred to as sinking, etc. Sinking dishonesty, sinking imparity, yada yada yada. Just something else I wanted to point out about how Shadowbringers has influenced this one. Speaking of which...
Hold still!
That was kind of close. Something tells me those... Whoa, what do you know? Oh man, it makes me wish I had brought Thancred just to see if he would have to have a comment on that. He would have to. Like, for whatever reason, these guys didn't say anything, but I'd imagine Thancred would have to have said something if he saw that, if he was here. He would be lore, story-wise obligated. I was going to say morally obligated, but that doesn't make any sense, so I was trying to make it more of a story kind of pun. But seriously, Thancred, of all people, if he was here, would definitely have something to say about that.
There! Hold still!
Yeah, that feels nice getting that off. And like I said, I don't use rotations, but I guess that's not technically true. It's more like I don't use the rotations used by other people because I would find it, one, I don't have the memory capacity for that, and two, I think it would be boring that every single dungeon for, I've already talked about this, but every single dungeon for every single enemy for every single fight doing the same exact button presses sounds mind-numbing. But I do use a rotation in the sense that, like, say for example, if I have all my stacks or gauge and arcane circle is ready to go and all that stuff, then yeah, I'll kind of use like a mini rotation that I've thought up. Speaking of which, I meant to check that. No, so, what buff did I see? Oh well. Looks an awful lot like Pot D. That's what I'm going to say for people who haven't ran it yet. Pot D. Not potty, Pot D.
You cannot stop us!
Lost opportunity. Well, that's a depressing AoE if I've ever heard one.
There! There!
So bold, so headstrong, stubborn,
Oh no, don't tell me. It took me a moment, but yep. Frickin' Amon.
Is as far as you go. Oblivion beckons!
Nice hat. You've wallowed long enough.
Many faces have I worn, but this is my favorite by far. You will persist in this folly no longer.
Guess I'll just chill out over here.
The stage is set.
Okay.
You underestimate me.
I'm guessing it means his right. Yeah. I thought I was standing out of that AoE. I should have just stood right on top of the Stinian, but oh well.
Let the curtains rise for the main attraction.
Shiva.
Allow me.
Sure is. Damn, no, we barely had time for that.
What a boorish audience you are.
Says the guy who uses repeat performances. Let's see, stand here.
Allow me. You cannot stop us. There.
Let's see, like that right there. That's pretty much a rotation, quote unquote. I just thought of. That I will try to do. Oh, two of them. Well, they seem pretty confident that it's this one. For a second there, it looked like it was going to be an X shape, so I was a little concerned. I think one of them was slightly towards the towards us, though.
Hold still.
Time to end this.
I was gonna go ahead and let the Stinian do it since I still got this. Good night. Good riddance is what I should say. Now stay gone this time, you bad, bad character.
Lies! All lies! futures, delusions and lies!
Yeah, bye now. Hopefully forever. Can't help but notice his soul didn't dissipate. That's pretty fair. Told you I wasn't letting that go. Yeah, it was nice seeing her again. Yeah, I agree with both of those. Is it Minfilia, since we saw her not but a little bit ago? Hey, Raha has the right of it. I don't think I got a single piece of Reaper gear this entire time. Maybe a weapon. I doubt it. I don't remember. But I don't think I've gotten any Reaper gear. We'll see when it's time to upgrade. Oh, great.
My very essence begins to wane. Sweet, sweet agony.
Leave this to her.
Yeah, leave it to Zio.
Come to deal the coup de grace.
I wish, but I don't think it'll let me.
Good. Watching you struggle against the inevitable is bad comedy. Erase me from existence, soul and all.
Though I would like to do that, wouldn't it be more punishing to let you languish? And better yet, to see us defeat your gloom and doom? I'm almost certain the answer to this is yes, but this seems to be a more interesting question. But at the same time, I could just get an easy no out of this and a yes out of this. Still, to me, this is a more interesting question.
How would you know that name?
How do you still remember? I think that's a better question.
Then it was you. In Elpis. With Emmett Suck. The final pieces fall into place.
And see, this brings up what I was saying earlier about how he does, in fact, have the memories of Hermes, even though he's been sundered. There was a whole spiel I went on about that. But there you go. You have your proof right there.
In my halcyon days, as the mortal Ammon, I was haunted by a dream. Night after night, the faceless multitude, the voiceless cries, shards of shattered memories. But slowly, the fog began to clear. This was Elpis. And I was Hermes. Recurring though it was, I paid this dream little heed. It was only when I was granted the seat and memories of Fandaniel that I knew these visions to be true. They were the memories of Hermes that he himself erased using the power of Kairos. Or so he thought. In his attempt to burn away the events of that fateful day, he succeeded only in searing them more deeply into his soul. My soul. Death failed to expunge them. No matter how many times it came. Rebirth after rebirth. From one Fandaniel to the next.
Hold that. There we go. Had to get that heater. That statement's a little confusing. Because I was under the impression that, well, then again, he was a sundered Ascian, so maybe it's different for them. But La Habrea, Emmett Selk, Elidibus, Emmett Selk especially, he straight up says, yeah, I died. I sired children, you know, blah, 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 blah. I lived countless lives. So he's died in rebirth, blah, blah, blah. And he kept his memories, so I don't see why that should be a big deal for Fandaniel, unless, of course, him being sundered somehow affects that. Or maybe the Kairos erasing his memory somehow janks up his soul. I don't know. It just seems like it shouldn't be erased at all anyway, but he's making it sound like it's a bigger deal than it actually is.
I wonder, is Emmett Selk adrift somewhere in this ethereal sea? In defeat, finally remembering your time together in Elpis?
I hope so, because I thought it would have been kind of neat. I know, coming from me, I know. But considering what's going on with the story, it would actually make sense if Emmett Selk had showed up to help with that last fight specifically, but I digress.
How it must gall him to be entrusted with knowledge of the final days, only to be rendered powerless to act upon it. So many lifetimes dedicated to restoring his beloved Amaral in blissful ignorance. Oh, folly.
I will say this much though, when he's not wearing the face of that whatever bastard and he's not acting like an absolute ass, he's much more tolerable. That's not sympathy talking, I'm just straight up saying I can deal with this better than how he was earlier.
But make no mistake, my life as Hermes is not the reason I invited the world's end. I have lived. I have struggled. I have dredged the very depths of despair. And in the detritus of existence, I found the truth. I served a great ruler, powerful beyond measure. The world his dominion. Yet even he and his vast empire were destined to fall. To become one with oblivion. At the end of life's journey lies only death.
As is natural. What's your point?
So I ask you, why live at all? We
I already
betray,
have
we torment, we murder. We are wicked, spiteful creatures, without exception.
That's called projection, bro. And I already have an answer to his question as soon as he asked it, but let's see if Zio gets to answer it.
Life is so sacred, so precious. Why fill it with such misery? Man wallows in a hell of his own making without purpose or meaning. To live is to suffer, and I would end that suffering by my own hand.
And you drag the world into this because... You see why I keep harshing on this guy? Because the philosophy is so stupid?
It matters not if it flies in the face of all believed right and just. Death is the only solution!
For you.
That is my truth. My answer to the question. And yet... even as the words pass my lips, I am filled with doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Has my search reached its end?
You sounded like Hermes there. Oh, come on, man. Really?
Was this the only way? After all these years.
Is this the answer I was hoping for?
The lamentations of the damned. How it vexes me to see your conviction falter at the last. Fantastic. Still clinging to existence, I see. You, who champion death so fervently, unwilling to accept your own, refusing to be purified and swept into the sea of souls. As do I.
I recognize that voice.
We prisoners to memory, watching as the world turns. Though unlike me, you will be spared the ignominy of having your corpse made a puppet, dancing to another's tune.
Yep, as if I needed confirmation.
Is that Arsahi?
Mm-hmm.
How very astute. But let me be clear, I have not come to consort with the likes of you.
As if I care. You're both equally annoying.
Nor have I come to bemoan the state of the world following my untimely demise. In fact, I delight in mankind's downfall, and the anguish it brings the savior of the savages. If I played some small part in the chaos, all the better. Not that I was in any position to resist. But to be made accomplice to the betrayal of Lord Xenos.
Of course. Of course, that's what does it for you.
I would die 1,000 deaths to exact my vengeance. Now you are at my mercy. I shall drag us both into oblivion, and you will never see the fulfillment of your magnum opus, even should you be reborn. Your desperate search for answers must start again.
And what might that be?
Isn't it obvious?
My wish is all but granted. To die and take you all with me.
Don't try to follow me. I had more of you people than I could stomach in life. Never mind in death.
Likewise. I pray we do not meet again.
You had better hope not.
Yeah, get out of here, edgy boy. What in Heidelin's name makes him think I would want to follow him in there? Where he just said it would destroy souls. Get your edgy ass out of here.
Come. Heidelin is waiting.
Though I will say that was an interesting conversation, because I was wondering what would happen if it was possible for him to know that his body was turned into a puppet. I didn't think we'd get an answer, but it is something I thought about. What would his reaction be? What would he be thinking? So, we did get that. That explains a lot.
Brave travelers, I welcome you.
That's definitely a primal look.
I see. Thou didst journey unto Elpis. And now, the rivers of time converge. I know why you have come. Yet I would hear you speak your reasons all the same.
Alright, let me get this out of the way real quick, then I'll try to be quiet. One, I love the beads in her hair, because that's definitely a Final Fantasy kind of design. And two, does she look like... I guess there's no harm in saying it now, but does she look like the Warrior of Light to you? Not us, but that one. Like, really, she looks a lot like him, which I think is very, very strange. But regardless of that...
You created the moon to deliver mankind from the final days. But is that really how it has to end? We do not wish to abandon this world. We want to protect the source and all of its shards.
To flee is but one of two paths. The other leadeth to Meteon, far beyond the stars, where she doth chant creation's requiem. Her domain is formed of dynamis, pure, absolute. Where emotion and memory govern all, ether will avail you naught. Meteon hath gathered the pain and despair of countless stars, and to go unprepared is to go unto your doom.
We'll beat her. We'll win. I swear it. Is what I might have said, once. After everything I've seen, all the times I've succumbed to my own anger and fear. I can no longer pretend that courage and faith will be enough. But are we truly so powerless? That our only choice is to flee?
I also want to stress, running away will not help. Because again, what's stopping her from just chanting at the new destination? What's stopping her from sending the final days there?
Far from it, my child.
All it would realistically do, would be to buy time. But even then, for how long?
Long ago, the inhabitants of myriad stars, many more prosperous than Atheris, sought to free their worlds from life's woes. Sorrow and anger, conflict and hostility, despair, and even death itself. But as Meteon reported, every attempt ended in failure. Darkness abideth within every living being, and can never be cast out. Neither reason nor faith can challenge this immutable truth. To live is to suffer. And in suffering, find strength, and purpose, and hope. As you have done so many times before. Thou dost pursue an impossible dream, yet knowing this, you pursue it nevertheless. And thou hast learned to depend on others as they do thee. Thy yearning for the power to save the powerless hath ever driven thee to greater heights. Thou hast grown strong. Though those closest to thee no longer walketh by thy side, their love remaineth thy guiding light. For duty's sake, Thou hast been bound by truths unutterable time and time again. Yet thy heart hath never wavered, as thy companions will attest. In thy pursuit of mysteries great, all thou believest is brought into question. Undaunted, thy thirst for knowledge remaineth unquenched. The fires of hatred that once burned in thy heart burneth no more. From their ashes doth spring the light of love, warm and pure. As witness to black calamity, thou despaired at man's helplessness. Resolved, thou didst unite a distant world on the brink of collapse. And thou, my champion, when all did seem lost, thou never abandoned hope. For every trial and every foe that did bar thy way, thou hast proven equal to the challenge, drawing courage from the many bonds forged on thy journey. You have all known despair, and though the end approacheth, you walk on, heads held high. Therein lieth your power. The strength to silence the song of oblivion.
Then there is a means to confront her.
Yes, if you should prove yourselves worthy. Hark! Nigh impossible is it to send mortals to the edge of the universe. Should you fail, there will be no second chance. As the will of the star, I ask of you this. Do you possess the fortitude to stand firm when all around you doth crumble? Do you possess the faith to vanquish despair itself? Should you lack the strength to best a supreme deity, I cannot allow you to make the journey.
So that's how we're doing it.
You must leave this star and never return. Prepare yourselves.
Prove ourselves worthy, eh? Sounds straightforward enough.
Aye. No room for confusion there. In any case, we've come too far to back down now.
The battle pose.
I am of the same mind. What power I have, I shall bring to bear.
The three of you seem to be forgetting who we're up against. It's not every day we battle a divine being of untold power. Well, not quite every day. Do try not to get underfoot. Needless to say, there'll be no margin for error.
Let us hold nothing back.
For the people of this world and those beyond the rift.
Alas, the question I posed to thee in Elpis hath remained unanswered these long years. I would hear thy response, warrior of light. Shouldst thou emerge victorious?
Yeah, unfortunately, that one was slightly spoiled for me some time ago. Made it obvious we're going to fight Heidelin. And apparently we can fight with NPCs. I'm half surprised and I'm not, because the cutscene didn't show us inviting, you know, our fellow adventurers. I mean, how could we? So I was expecting it, but not really, if that makes sense. Interesting. So we're definitely going to do that with them. What else was I going to say, though? Something about... Oh, right. Yeah, it got slightly spoiled, but the spoiler was so early, and I kind of immediately put it out of my mind that I kind of forgot about it. But yeah, as soon as I saw that name again, I was like, oh yeah, right, Heidelin. I mean, if it was called the Mother Crystal, and it's a trial, come on. Hence why I kept telling you all to turn away whenever I check my friends list. Well, I will say this, if Heidelin does end up kicking our ass, at least I'm okay with losing to her. Yes, actually. Aw, I didn't know you felt that way. Yeah, obviously. That's a good point, though. I'll try to be extra careful. You know, Heidelin, the Mother Crystal, and all. That is true. I'm hoping that's all there is to this. True. So, okay, we're definitely fighting this with the NPC gang, our fellow Scions. And to be fair, I did kind of see this coming, because obviously if this is cool, though. This is awesome. I do love this. But to be fair, it was kind of obvious, because aside from the spoiler, which I told you I even forgot I saw. Oh, let me check one more thing. I didn't look at this. Polarization. Okay. Even without the spoiler, if we fought Zodiark, of course, especially with that one moon cutscene, it made you feel like you're going to fight Heidelin. Whether she's evil or not, can't say. I personally don't think she is. I hope she isn't, because that would be far, far too out of left field. But, yeah. So before we fight Heidelin, I will be right back, and then we'll jump into it immediately. Give me 3 to 5 minutes. Oh, that's kind of cool to see that it's showing everyone various views. I almost don't want to leave this. You know what? I won't. I'll finish what I was saying here, then I'll start. So while I was off doing my own thing, I was thinking to myself, well, something, and I had a revelation, and that something was, I kept saying there's no way Hydaelyn could be evil. At least I hope she isn't, because there's been no clues at all that she is. Even the Red Moon cutscene, look at Zio. Even the Red Moon cutscene I brought up shouldn't qualify, because again, it's so out of left field, and it still doesn't make sense. It didn't dawn on me until, hey Zio, until I was gone, and I thought about it. See, now that this is happening, I wish I had her facing away in front of Hydaelyn, so then it'd be a really cool looking shot, but I didn't think I'd be gone long enough for this to happen. Anyway, it didn't dawn on me till I was gone, and I thought about it. That voice we heard had to be Meteion. It wasn't Hydaelyn. It was just a female voice, and we happened to be looking at Earth, and you know, that makes you think, oh, Hydaelyn. But I was like, no, that can't be right. Like, yeah, I thought it too, but I was like, that doesn't make any sense, so that can't be it. I believe that voice was Meteion, so that makes everything makes everything make more sense. Because like I was saying, I'm glad we're able to fight Hydaelyn without her being evil, so we kind of have our cake and eat it too. And yeah, if you're wondering why I'm not inviting my FC to this, I would if it wasn't for the fact that they're so willing to help. Every Scion, main one at least, is here, save for poor Kryl, which is probably one of the reasons why she was left behind, but still. Oh, I nearly did the wrong thing. Speaking of which, I wanted to see how this looked when what all their little quotes are. I believe I remember most of them, but just for the sake of making the scene more epic.
Victory will be ours.
I wasn't expecting her to be there. Let me fix that. Because there's a certain order I want to go in.
Let's give it our all. Victory will be ours.
Right then. Our fates are not yet sealed.
'Twould be a pleasure as always.
Obviously, I wanted those two together. So, Alice and Alphanel, so that's why I did that. You are an actual tank, so you'll go first.
I stand ever ready.
And then you.
My turn!
Alright, let's do it. So, she already had an Armiger-esque looking final attack when she was immortal, so I shudder to imagine what her ultimate attack looks like now that she's ascended to godhood. Maybe that's why she looks like the Warrior of Light, you know, the whole light aspect, but, whew, man, they favor each other.
I, the last of my kind, shall test thee. Come, prove thy worth.
Something else I wanted to comment on. Let me try to remember. It was, oh, what's that? Willful. The will to live. Okay, that sounds very cinema heavy, like cinematic cutscene, which I expected there to be, but not to the point where we got a buff for it. It's interesting we got two, though. Oh, I remember what I was saying. I was saying this really does put into retrospect just how fast people were burning through the main story. And I cannot see... I mean, I guess for your end game is just to get to the new gear, then fair enough, but one, you're missing out on a lot, and I mean a lot of a lot. And two, I'm talking about the day of early access, there were people already here. So, that's just crazy to me. Alright, let's start. Tancred, you're up.
Have you the strength of will to alter man's fate?
Hold still.
Make ready.
I was also thinking that Hydaelyn's HP would be mad thick, and I was right.
A change of arms. May the test continue.
Okay, so she still has that going on, as I imagined.
We're near or far.
Oh, that's a... Oh, okay, so only 2 people getting that one?
And now this.
I'm guessing the 2 people have to be the 2 tanks, because that does exist, but that's pretty rare to see tanks do that. Like, Ravana has one. It's that old.
Light unyielding.
I'm not understanding what these markers mean.
Try and stop it.
I think the sword one, or whatever that, the red one, might have been a donut, and that one was point blank. So I'll try to pay more attention.
By blade.
Okay, that's a cross. Man, I wish Reaper had more attack speed.
Together we shall overcome this.
Still, slow and steady.
Still. You're mine.
I just want to check something. Yep, still same buffs. That's cool. Okay, green was getting far, right?
Light unyielding.
Yeah, or far enough at least. Still not sure how you're supposed to be able to tell.
This will hurt.
Allow me.
By blade.
Definitely don't want to get tagged by that one. Not at point blank range, at least.
I will not hold back. Crystals of light. To me.
Aw. All right.
Here. I have you now. The song of creation's end. Feel.
I'll just stick with them so we
The
can
sorrow
get the
and
DPS
hopeless
out faster.
demise.
Hold still.
Think. And find your way in the darkness.
What was that? Alright, curious. I'm not sure if we actually...
Have
I'll
you
have
the
to pay closer
strength of
attention.
will to alter man's fate?
Because I thought we had more time, and it kind of felt like I got... Maybe I fell off the edge. Maybe going out of bounds. Oh, I bet you that's what it was. The freaking teleport. I must have had Zeo teleport
Change
into
of
that
arms. May the
AoE,
test continue.
and it must be instant death. That's why it failed.
Hold still.
Despite the, you know, buff that we have on. That's times 3 now, for some reason.
Together we shall overcome this.
Okay, let me... Okay, it looks like it is a
Near
donut.
or far.
Yeah, and I didn't
I
make
will
it.
not hold back.
Alright, so I'm like, we definitely should have more time.
And now this.
And Zeo didn't fall off the edge, so what happened there? So yeah, her tippy toes must have just hit that AoE, and it counted as a death. You know, despite the buff that they have on.
Light unyielding.
Allow me.
Be gone!
I just lost all those stacks. Still not used to that power yet.
By blade!
I need to learn where to stand for that without relying on the computer. I try not to. I will definitely use them as test dummies, but I don't want to rely on them so much that I cannot recognize it myself. Otherwise, that defeats the entire point of going in here and learning it. Oh, wrong one.
We're near or far.
And I wasn't paying attention that time.
You're mine!
I'm going to try to stack up for when she summons those crystals again and not use the teleport. Okay, so just don't stand in front of the sigils. Fair enough.
Crystals of light, to me. Here. The song of creation's end. Feel. The sorrow at hope's demise. Think. And find your way in the darkness.
The fact that we're getting the AoEs, not the AoEs, but the gauge so easily makes me think you're meant to use a tank limit break here. You know, something else they have in common with the Warrior of Light, the OG one.
Follow your light. Or fly, my children, and never look back.
Well, he's doing Divine Veil at least. Oh, and I wonder if that's his... Nope, no it's not. They're all using their shielding moves. Cool, so we get to keep the limit break.
Then you are resolved.
Something special for you.
I wanted to use it, but Alice beat me. Alice, I hope yours does stupid damage. Despite being an AoE one.
Light. Let's give them a show.
You underestimate me.
Because I was planning to use it anyway. Normally, you know, in the natural trial, I wouldn't do one so soon. But since it's the AI, if Zio goes down, then the trial's over regardless. And we definitely have time to build up another one. I wasn't paying attention. Speaking of which,
allow me.
The Will to Live kicked in. That's nice. As I was just saying, if she goes down, it's game over. I've got to pay attention to that move. I haven't been paying attention to the name of it, and I get too caught up in trying to not do my rotation. See why I don't like them. It ends up getting me killed. Oh, I know that AoE.
There.
So what are you going to do on top of that?
You now. Light unyielding.
Away with you.
Something special for you.
Refulgence eternal.
My turn.
underestimate me!
You're mine! You're mine!
By blade!
Yeah. That's nice, they give us multiple chances, but I'd rather not be using them up. I wonder if that's... Oh. I bet you it's not even because it's Heidelin. I mean, it kind of is. But I bet you that's because it's a... basically doing a solo trial.
Not to fear!
I like how she's encouraging us while, you know, kicking our asses. That's quite sweet of her. Definitely something a villain wouldn't do. Oh, what sweet hell is this?
Allow me. Hold still.
Man, I can only imagine the nightmare. That's the extreme version of this. People are getting hyped about Zodiark's extreme. I'm sure it will be hard, but whatever. This is... This one, on the other hand, this one does kind of get me excited.
I will not hold back.
I have you now.
Good thing I checked that. And pressed the wrong button there, but that's okay.
You're mine! Something special for you.
We're near or far.
I'm getting tired of getting hit by that.
You underestimate me!
Hold still.
See, I barely noticed that. I only noticed as they moved.
Try and stop me.
I really hate I keep missing that AoE. I don't know how I keep missing it. Like this entire fight, I've been missing it.
You underestimate me. You're mine!
Oh, that's the donut.
We're near or far.
You underestimate
Yeah, I think it
me.
just happens. I think there was no cast bar. I think she just does it. Alright, there we go. Came down to the wire, but we did it.
At last, man has the strength to...
Hey, don't dissipate on us, Crystal Mom. Feels like we just met. Not ready to lose you yet. Only thanks to the buff. All in a day's work. Just very beautiful, as you'd imagine, you know, Heidelin. But yeah, if it wasn't for those buffs, that would have took, what, 3-4 tries? But yeah, for a second there, I thought the buff was special for this fight. But in retrospect, that's not it. It can't be. It's most likely because that was a solo trial, the first one in the game. Pretty sure it was, at least. I don't remember getting a party of Scions or what have you to help me with Zodiark, so pretty sure because that was a soloable trial, they give us that buff. You know, being fair. Actual fairness.
No, this can't be happening.
Nope, there went my phone.
Though my power is in constant flux, I have always kept a reserve for this very moment. It was a true test of your prowess. You have done well.
There is one thing I must ask. By sundering the world into 14 shards, the ether of all living beings too was divided. This reduction would in theory allow us to more easily interact with Dynamis. Having seen mankind brought to the very precipice of extinction, you wished for us to develop a means to overcome despair. You believed we had the potential, and sundered all creation to see it fulfilled, to deliver us to that swirling maelstrom of Dynamis in which our foe hides, and grant us the power to defeat her once and for all. Is this not true?
It is as thou sayest. 'Twas the trial to which I subjected mankind, and it hath led to untold bloodshed and suffering. There was no kindness, nor justice in the tragedy I wrought. When confronted with the almighty Zodiark, my only recourse was rend him and the world asunder, that his power be diminished for a time. And so it came to pass. Now you, my chosen, have surpassed my expectations, surpassed me. I entrust the fate of the universe unto you. This crystal contains the memory of Meteion's passage through the stars. Deliver it unto the Loporets. They will guide you to her.
Though they may be capable of crossing great distances, there is a vast difference between traveling to the moon and the furthermost reaches of the great expanse. And unlike Meteion, we cannot simply soar on waves of Dynamis to our destination.
Indeed. To make such a journey would require an astronomical amount of ether. But a solution lieth close at hand.
Of course.
Yes, my child. Ever since I became the will of the star, the ether drawn here had slowly crystallized. They who have answered my call know it well. While I have remained hidden, it hath become the embodiment of the planet's will in my place. A faceless, omnipotent force of nature.
The Mother Crystal.
The Mother Crystal. Our final hope.
Who'd have thunk it? I'm pretty sure a majority of us figured this was Heidelman's true form way back when we were still innocent. Oh, that's nice. That's an awesome touch.
Alas, I can do no more. The fulfillment of this task doth fall to you, my chosen. Now, heed these words. Darkness and light, despair and hope. As goeth one, so goeth the other. Become light, become hope. I have a gift for thee. Come closer. Long have I searched for a means to safeguard the future of this star. Though I knew failure after failure, by recalling thy tales and my promise to thee, I found the strength to carry on. Though the world is ever changing, thy thirst for adventure hath never waned. Thine unshakable resolve never ceases to amaze, to inspire. As a mark of my gratitude, I bestow this final gift. Thou dost possess the Crystal of Azum, yes? As Heidelin, I reside over the forces of stasis, tranquility, peace. The laws which impart stability to existence itself. I will weave this self-same power into the crystal, granting thee mastery over matter, to give form to the formless. Use it wisely, or it will not last indefinitely. As thou hast seen on thy journey through the ethereal sea, souls are drawn to thee. Mayhap this trait will prove to be a boon rather than a hindrance. It is thy hopes and prayers that enable Azum's invocations and give them life. So keep them close. But pray, remember this. When the way forward is hidden, even from the mind's eye, look not to the invocation, but within yourself. These were the words of the crystal's original bearer. With that, my work is finished. Fulfill our promise. Right the wrongs committed when the world was yet whole. Silence the song of oblivion. Teach her a brighter melody. Show her our journey is far from over. Of this, I have no doubt. For yours is a light brilliant beyond measure. Long after I have gone, though not even my soul remaineth, my love will be with you forever, my dearest children.
Oh man, the music just had to kick in there, didn't it? It's a good thing I'm not a more emotional person, because that scene would probably make me cry too. Let's see. Okay. I remember that first one up there, so right about here. So, take your time, pause that, read that. Yeah, it's better I talk to these two first so I don't accidentally talk to, Yeah, they were. Small wonder she chose Minfilia. Indeed. Well, see, that's thanks to that little buff called the Will to Live. Good call, too, because I was actually about to stop. Not yet, though. Not quite yet, but I'm about to. Oh, so this is an excellent point to point this out, of how fast I told you the expansion was going, and I'm not the only one who felt this way. I have no problems at all with Xenos being the final boss of this expansion. Absolutely none. Let me check out that scythe. Ah, okay. The design on the blade caught my interest. But still, I think this one's much more Zeo style. Anyway, as I was saying, I wouldn't mind if Xenos is the final boss of this expansion. Absolutely not. I would not be bothered whatsoever. But the issue is, like I said, this one has been going so fast. What we're doing right now feels like what should be happening at the end of Endwalker's expansion. Much like how Shadowbringer's Warrior of Light was the end of that one. Not Hades, not whatever was before him. The Warrior of Light was the final boss, more or less, of Shadowbringers. So you would think that case Meteion would be the final boss of Endwalker. The way I would have done it and felt it should have been, again, you know, who am I to say, but still, Xenos probably would have been the actual first one. Whether he died or he'll come back later is irrelevant, but I would have made Xenos the first boss expansion. Then in the next expansion for Endwalker, it would have been Zodiark, for real. Then after that one, it would have been Proving Ourselves to Hydaelyn, the next expansion. And then the final Endwalker expansion would have been Meteion. That's 4 expansions you could have squeezed out of this. Not yet, because I nearly forgot to do this. Make sure we're all caught up. Yep, okay. I saw that Astrologian had a steampunk looking globe. Might just start referring to that glamour, those type of weapons as steampunk, because that's really what they remind me of. Excuse me. Sorry about that.
There you are.
I know where we are.
Some time, indeed, yes. For you, at least.
In case the music didn't give it away, I recognize those voices.
Believe me, I'd meant to get some proper sleep. But here we are, drifting along instead. Well, well, you too. And so we remain, to watch and wonder. Yes, indeed. To begin, we first must see the end.
To the edge. What a simple yet soothing cutscene. I guess someone's not taking the news about Heidelin very well. Alright, so I just wanted to grab that just so I didn't forget, and though, you know, I couldn't really forget because the current main scenario quest is right up there, but still, I'm gonna call it for tonight. Probably go get me something to eat, play some Destiny 2, then off to bed. So that was a pretty good stream, in my own humble opinion, you know, despite all the rambling and whatnot, but at least Yui showed up. I don't think she's still there. I'm not even going to check. She definitely gave it a like, though, so she at least stayed for a little bit. So thanks for that, Yui. I'll be sure to repay the favor another time. And that thing is called a shoe bill. I thought so. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Next stream, hopefully, we'll wrap this up. Maybe. I want to finish it up in 13 parts, as I mentioned before. And it just so happened this worked out pretty well. But for all I know, there could be another 50 missions, so... Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you around.